Welcome to Fireteam Chat. Thank you for joining us today. We have an extra special E3 episode. Fran is joining me as always.
Hey there.
Along with Scott from Bungie.
Hi, how's it going?
And of course, Deej, you are back. We interviewed you today. It's good to see you again.
Good to be here. Yeah, I feel like we're in a newsroom. Can I be Deej with weather?
This is very impressive.
Chance of snowstorms, atop
Yeah.
Fellwinter's Peak.
That's what I was going to say. You got to talk about the new weather.
Yeah,
later.
this set is pretty impressive, guys.
It is, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, courtesy of Fran Mirabella.
Thanks.
Is
Yeah,
that right?
I didn't do all this, but
Built
yeah,
it
I did have to pay for it.
Don't be so modest.
Yeah, right.
We came in here, you were wearing a tool belt. You were
Yeah,
like,
it's
almost
true.
done,
Gotta
guys.
finish
Just
it.
finished
A
it.
few more disco lights and we're good to go here.
Indeed.
So today we're going to talk about a lot of the new Rise of Iron stuff that has come out today and just news that is broken. And we're going to take a bunch of questions from the community.
Okay.
I got as many as I could. Sorry if I missed anybody. But why don't you tell us a little bit about this expansion? I want Scott to answer.
Want Scott to answer?
You go first.
I'll go
Yeah.
first.
Very
So,
dangerous.
Rise of Iron. Yeah, we're taking Lord Saladin, who's been, in Destiny since the beta. He's in the tower. He showed up in the tower with this ritual iron banner. And now we're going to take that into PvE, and we're going to learn a lot more about that side of the lore, and try to, learn about the Iron Lords, and that's going to tell us about the Fallen on Earth, and really dive into that side of the game.
Before we get to the newest of new, let's bring up a moment of silence for trip mines and anybody ever equipping them again. Why did you make the decision to make that change after years of keeping it that way?
I mean, it's all up on the blog. The sandbox designers, their job is never finished. They're going to adjust the sandbox. If there's an option for combat that doesn't seem viable, they're going to make it more viable. If there's an option for combat that is annoying for other players, obviously it's annoyed to get killed by another Guardian. But if it's infuriating and if it happens all the time and it's the only thing that you ever see, it's like, oh, here comes a hunter, let me guess, donk.
Yep.
So
Unicorn.
they're going to go through and they're going to, maintain order and they're going to maintain balance. They take an enormous amount of pride in their work. And they really do the best job of speaking for themselves. So, we like to go through and publish their update previews on the blog, just to give the Guardians some advance notice. Like, here's what's coming down the pike. People are thinking about this stuff a lot. Here's why we did it. And, they pay attention to the things the community talks about. They take a look at the data. We can see what you're doing.
I know.
We can see the activities that
creepy,
you're
Deej.
playing, and we're like the NSA of Destiny.
Exactly.
We know what weapons you're equipping. We know what activities
I
you're
saw
playing.
you in the prison last night.
I saw you in the Prison of Elders last night.
I've never
were
been so
cheating.
afraid. This is horrifying. You're watching me.
And then there's also, our own experiences, So between the things that the Guardians say, the things that they do that they don't admit to, and the things that we experience, as players of our own game, as fans of our own product, if you will, they'll make focused decisions based on how they want the sandbox to play out. So.
Let's stay on the topic of Crucible. I actually have a question from True Vanguard, who asked, are there any new approaches to map design being implemented with the coming of Rise of Iron DLC?
Similar to similar to sandbox designers, there's a lot to talk about with PvP and unpack for Rise of Iron. We have new maps coming, but we're going to let those guys come out over the summer and kind of really speak to their process and what they're excited about.
Deej, you mentioned there's a new mode coming. Will that new design have the new mode in mind when creating the map?
Yeah, that's how they think about these things. We actually had 3 of the original Crucible map designers on our stream a couple of weeks ago, and there was this really interesting conversation about Rusted Lands, the old Russia Crucible map, being one of the most iterative maps in the entire Crucible.
Really?
It has had it was basically the map that they used to test all of the weapons. It was also the map where they sort of perfected the way control would work. So whenever they're walking around a map, they're like, hey, let's go over to B now, and it's like the way people play the game. They'll say, even if you're playing Clash, they're like, hey, I'm over here at B, come help me because I don't want to lose my heavy. And it's like, we're not playing, okay, fine, I know where B is, fine, let's just pretend we're playing Control, I'll go over to B. But they know what they're making these maps for. They know they want to provide different types of experiences. Certain maps are all about verticality, certain maps are about parkour jumping across the landscape, certain maps are about close quarters fights where your boots are on the ground. And now that they have a new mode coming online, they're building these maps, we're play testing these modes, they're iterating on the maps, they're iterating on the modes. So all of these things come together in harmony. You know, all of these people, all of these disciplines are working in the same way. As they adjust the maps, as they adjust the new Crucible mode, Sandbox team might even look at that and be like, everybody's playing this new mode on this map and they're all using shotguns. What do we do about that? So, you know, all of these things, you know, there's checks and balances, and it should all be sort of be part of the same organism. What was it, the word they taught us in school? Homeostasis?
Yes.
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 And the new mode is incredibly fun. It's really, really fun.
And that's all we'll say until
we're
later on this
Tell
summer.
us more about it. Yeah. Exactly.
Don't lean on the executive producer. He's too excited about his work.
Oh, we know you have a rollout plan for the summer, as we'll hear a lot over this discussion.
In the coming weeks and months, we'll be telling you much more about Rise of Iron.
Stories to tell. I did have one point of clarification to jump off that last topic. So when you are implementing a balance change, you have a QA group, you have testers. I think actually that's not always clear to the community and the fans, because we play it, and then there'll inevitably be somebody, right, who's tweeting at you can't believe you let this slide through. So maybe just a point of clarity, roughly what happens? Does it go to a group of 50 people, 100 people? I know it's probably not always the same, but how would you describe that process of once you decide based on the data, what happens to test out if it's the right
Process question.
Well, I mean, that I was going to leave it to you, but
Well,
sure. No, the
first point of order is it is they. It's not me, because I have the tweets to prove that people think that I personally nerfed the hunters.
You're to blame for most
It's like, I woke up this morning and I thought, you know what I'm really good at? I honestly don't have a clue. But
You're also the reason we don't have wolves as companions.
well, I wouldn't call a wolf a companion. They're feral beasts.
Yeah, right.
Only a badass like Lord Saladin can be flanked by something as fierce as a wolf.
Yes.
But I think Scott has a much better perspective than I do about how different teams work together and how they complement each other. And the community doesn't get a chance to hear from a guy like
true.
you as often as me.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that you said, everyone has an opinion about these different things, and so the job of us at work is to take all that feedback, take the internal feedback that we have, roll it up, and then prioritize it and figure out what that balance is. And so, we've had a really neat opportunity with Destiny to, after we ship the game, to really be iterating on it and evolving it. And we do these sandbox updates fairly often.
Yeah.
And so
Don't we
that's
know it?
part of that's part of tending to the evolving landscape, right? So when this game comes out and we have Galahorn, then that's going to be the right Galahorn for Rise of Iron and for the Destiny of right now.
Yeah. I actually don't know if I got the
process.
Yeah. Roughly speaking, though, I mean, does it go to a group that's really sizable, or do you not want to talk about what the number?
No, I mean,
is?
There's different types of testing. It's not a matter of saying, hey, we've got new sandbox balance that we have in mind. Here you go, testers. There are testers who work embedded with the groups that they support. I've given over 200 studio tours at Bungie. The team has expanded in size a lot since I've been there, and I'm kind of, me or Cosmo, the community manager, is part of their day one ritual. So it's like, welcome to Bungie, here's a box of t-shirts, let's show you where you're going to be spending a lot of your time.
Yeah.
And there is a wing in our building, in our studio, there's a portion where we used to tell this story, where it's like, here's where all of the testers hang out. And they're getting Destiny ready to be an always online, always connected game on 4 separate consoles. And on their backs, because of their hard work, we shipped a pretty good stable title. Since then, though, since the game has been out and we've been iterating on it, the story about that portion of our studio is very different now. And I tell them, quite literally, this is where all of test used to be, and it was because of them that we shipped a great game. Now, the testers have been sort of dispersed all across the floor. So there are sandbox testers, there are world art testers, there are investment testers. So a tester at Bungie has a specialty,
More of a niche,
and they sit right next to the person that they're supporting. So it's not just like, this comes from straight upstairs, they want to know if the shotguns are, it's like they understand what the goals are of the design team, they understand their vocabulary. I'm not sure how many dedicated sandbox testers support the sandbox team, but it's in the single digits.
The test is testers are game developers,
acquainted.
right? Like, I think that's an important thing to say, right? Testers are a really important part of the process, and they work and collaborate with the designers to really execute what you end up seeing.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
so if something's bad, it's the tester's fault.
Well,
That's
no.
what I'm hearing. No,
It's my fault. The buck stops right here. If something's wrong,
it's your fault.
it's my fault.
Oh,
Got
send
it.
him to Deej. There
Send
you
them,
go.
Send them right to me.
Look at this guy.
You brought
He's
up
willing to take it.
investment testing. One of the questions we got was about factions. You guys gave me a 7 Seraph shirt, and that was a faction early on, or it was supposed to be.
It's a T-shirt.
It was a story element. It was, it was one of those things that seemed like a good idea at the time.
Talking about investment systems, though, are we ever going to see new factions?
Oh, that's interesting. For Rise of Iron, we don't have any new factions, and so that's not something we're focusing on right now. But we're always talking about all sorts of things, and so that's something that I'm sure people talk about, but not for Rise of Iron.
But you do have new story elements. I mean,
Absolutely.
The Iron Lords are really the new group that we're paying attention to in Rise of Iron. And understanding who that legendary order of heroes were. I mean, before any of the Guardians were alive, these were the guys that protected humanity. So the player fantasy for this one is not about joining Dead Orbit or colluding with New Monarchy. It's about, here's this new group you can join, only you earn it. You don't just walk up and be like, I'll put that on and I get reputation now, right? It's like you will fight back this threat that destroyed them. You will participate in their rituals and you get to become an Iron Lord. Perhaps a Dead Orbit Iron Lord, but so it's becoming more and more layered.
Yeah.
Your storytelling in The Taken King really set a new bar. We had cutscenes, and we have a question from T-Rex that is about the new content. Are we going to discover the fate of the Iron Lord strictly through gameplay and voiceovers, or are we going to get more cutscenes like in The Taken King?
It's all yours.
You're absolutely getting cutscenes. So one of the things that we were really excited about, me? I didn't take it. But they're really
It's your
fun. And so
question.
yeah, it is.
Say it, preach.
I'm just excited about it because we want that too. Like we're always looking at trying to improve and iterate on our storytelling. And there's many tools of how you can tell a story, and cinematics are a great one when you're telling a big campaign. And so yes, there's great in-game cinematics that come out with Rise of Iron.
Is there more volume of cinematics? Like in the same way Taken King, we had the biggest raid that we'd experienced. Like, are there more?
I think, Rise of Iron in general is positioned really, really well between, this is the way I think of it, we have House of Wolves and we have Taken King, and Rise of Iron's in a really comfortable place in the middle overall. And so when I think of that, I really compare it to House of Wolves, which I worked on, where it's like we have a raid, we have a whole new zone, we have these enemy types that are a little mysterious, the fallen, well, something's going on here, the CVified, right? And so we do have cinematics. That's another thing we did not have in House of Wolves, and so
You were starting to get there, though.
yeah, no, but I think we did a lot of really great work on the storytelling and telling a story about Petra and Varix and the Reef and the Queen and all that side of the world. And so now we're going to be talking about the past of the Iron Lords and Saladin and why he's been doing this Iron Banner thing. And cinematics and voiceover are two really important ways. And new characters. So the social space is going to have new characters, and that's really the hub that tells the story.
There's also a new light level.
Yes.
Broman wants to know if getting there and leveling up is going to also change in any way.
No, the level is staying. I think we've said that. If we haven't, I just did. And then the light level is going to go up.
Got it.
A significant.
Two.
A significant light level.
Significant
How much would you
amount.
say a significant amount is out of 100?
It's a significant.
More than insignificant, but less than outrageous.
Oh, okay. Well, those seem like arbitrary words.
Yeah. I will tell you this, though. I think one of the things that I appreciate a lot about Destiny is I think Rise of Iron does a really good job of catering to different types of players, and each of them have their desire to level up, but they like playing the game in different ways. So you guys understand, like with Vault of Glass and with Crota's End, during that phase of our adventure, the only way to become a max level Guardian, really the only way to complete yourself, was to play those raids. But not everyone does.
Yeah.
And the more we started investing in things like Iron Banner, the more we started investing in things like Trials of Osiris, we gave people other ways to become legends, to become most powerful. And even with the April update, a lot of the feedback that we got are a lot of solar players, or Void players, or Arc players, solo players, stepping forward and saying, I really appreciate the things you've done with the April update, because I feel like for the first time as a solo player, I can now achieve max light.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we're doing with Rise of Iron is the raid is there. The raid will be amazing. It'll be challenging. It'll be this wonderful bond of camaraderie between you and your five favorite problem solvers. And that's one way in which you can realize your full potential. But all of these other activities will also help you do that. Iron Banner will still be there. Trials will still be there. There are some interesting end game rituals. Things just exploring the world can help you get to a place where you feel as powerful as anybody who's a hardcore raider.
Did you like the game, Deej? You played it last week.
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
I thought it was I thought you did a very good job.
Well, there's other people that
Yeah.
must be many
Bungie
other
likes
people
their
that
own
like it.
game.
Well, I don't know. It's good. I don't
Do
know.
you
I
feel the
haven't talked
blog
to
is well written, Scott?
I do like the blog.
Yeah?
That's a voice.
Yeah,
it's a very
I
particular
feel
voice.
the comma usage is spot on.
Hey man,
Great
you
job.
do a good job.
Yeah, we really need to stop this. Firewall us. Ask another question fast.
You guys released a bunch of images of the new area. It looks like we're going back to the Cosmodrome, as you said, and it's totally covered in snow, but there's some relics there of public events that we've experienced in the past. What story are you telling with that art direction?
The big thing that's going to be reinforced throughout the game is that time has passed in this version of the Cosmodrome, and so you're going to see the wall is down, and so we really are interested in the feeling of this is where you started your journey. This is where you were born for all intents and purposes in Destiny, and now that world has changed. So you're going to go into the wall, and that's going to be a different experience. And I think the thing you're referring to is did you see out in the Rocket Yard? Or is it,
Yeah.
Okay. Then
You know what's
that's
up.
cool. Well, I don't know what people saw.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you're going to see similar to in Taken King, you saw Sepix was dead in there. And so we like playing with those kinds of things and those stories. And so we're really trying to you go in and you see that, and then you are led to the new area and the Plaguelands, which is off to the right. You go off to the right. And you're going to access it by going to Earth. So it's the first time we've created a new zone on an existing destination. So that's really exciting.
Wow, so is my spin metal still in the same?
You still have spin metal.
Oh, okay.
Spin metals.
Good.
Spin metals. There's no new material.
Spin metal is resilient to the cold.
Yes,
It makes
spin
sense.
metal does find some
I don't know
metal.
why it would.
It
have a
grows
problem.
out of radioactive waste.
Yeah,
That's what we're talking about here.
Spin metal.
That makes sense.
So, Frodus Tweets actually wants to know, will we see any events from Year 2 in Rise of Iron? And with those areas changing so drastically, how would you do something like that?
So your experience in the Cosmodrome, if you play it today, is not going anywhere. So the way it's going to work is you're going to have a single director image, and you're going to be able to access the different nodes that are going to take you to the instance that's appropriate. So if you choose to do the Rise of Iron Patrol, it's going to put you in the Plaguelands. If you choose to do the Destiny Patrol, it's going to put you where you always have been landing. And so we didn't want to take anything away or alter those existing experiences for anyone who's joining us or who wants to play those missions and content. So yeah, you're going to, hopefully this is the ideal experience where you can see time pass, but also still play the old content.
Yeah, but for clarity, right, like when you install Rise of Iron or pop in the disc, there's going to be some opening event and time skipping forward, and suddenly like all of Earth now is on snow, right? You can't go back to
No, you go
as
back.
previous.
No, it's
Or you
very
can,
clear.
You can
that-
access both.
Yes.
Wow. So you can like where we land today on Earth will look and be the same.
Yes.
There was people talking about that will now be all changed.
That is not- that
So
is
that
not
is not
right.
the
Nope.
case. So it's only within the Plaguelands and those new areas.
Correct.
So old areas will remain intact and look the same. They're not suddenly going to be covered
Yes.
in snow. Okay.
We're
Very
trying to,
interesting.
with the time passing, we want to have the difference.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're definitely telling a backstory with the art direction in the Plaguelands and like the Fallen Walker that's there and destroyed, similar to what you said about Sepix. My name is Bife says, what will Bungie be doing to put
Bife.
the backstory and lore of Destiny in the game as opposed to on the Destiny companion app?
a big
This is
question.
something the community keeps asking for.
Sure.
The Grimoire is external. They just want to read it in the game. What are you guys doing about
Well, I think
that?
if you look at this whole area of lore, the Iron Banner and the Iron Lords, I mean, that's the story we're telling. That's the story that we're telling in the cinematics. That's the story that's being told through the campaign. And there's a lot of different ways to tell story in Destiny. The weapon names. I mean, like one of the things that's really compelling about Rise of Iron to me is that I look at the Year 1 Iron Banner weapons, and now I'm going to be like, Fellwinter's Peak. That sounds familiar. Like that, you kind of have an association with the weapon, and so you're telling. There's an emotion that comes with that, and hopefully an excitement of like how you feel about these weapons, and so now you're going to be learning about those characters in game. You're going to find out by the end of this game. You will know what happened to the Iron Lords and understand why Saladin is performing the Iron Banner ritual, and that's something that is in the game, and that's the story.
Please don't let anything happen to Lord Saladin. I will be
Are you
very
worried?
unhappy.
What
A
do you think's gonna
little.
happen?
A little.
He has a cape.
He seems like he's under a lot
All
of
the other
stress.
Iron Lords are gone.
Yeah.
You become an Iron Lord.
Yeah.
There's.
What do we need?
I'm
What do we
worried.
need this guy for anymore?
Yeah, that
I'm
sounds
gonna
scary.
run Iron Banner
I will
from
say
now on.
Saladin has all those wolves, and he seems very tough. So, yeah.
He should be fine.
He's
hopefully,
doomed.
huh?
Speaking of wolves,
He's
I think
doomed.
you guys missed a collector's edition opportunity there. You could have a pet puppy and you raise it.
Yeah,
and
like
then you have your
it
companion.
ships with a puppy.
No collector's edition. Why'd you make that decision?
You want to take that?
Yeah, sure. We have one version of Rise of Iron to cater to every player. If you want to collect Destiny stuff, I mean, we have people that will help you do that. There's these awesome, Iron Banner medallions in the Bungie store. So if you want to dress up like Lord Saladin, if you want people at work going, "What's that?" And you start talking about this video game you play. We give people many different ways that they can express themselves creatively. And with Rise of Iron, what we're doing is we're giving people a chance to collect a Gallarhorn. Bring the Gallarhorn back. Help yourself to the Iron Gallarhorn.
Put it up on the screen.
Here we go.
Gallarhorn time. We can do
back.
this.
It's back.
Eventually it's back.
Probably wasn't ready.
It's coming back.
This
the
is the
Gallarhorn.
There you go.
Oh.
Deej nailed it. I think he's got that magic touch.
I
Nailed
did.
it.
I waited for the fade to start before I pointed.
Well done.
So yeah, it's back, and you can collect your Gallarhorn if you pre-order. It also comes in black, but what we're
And you
doing
get
is-
both. You can get the black one and
you
you get
get-
the original
Correct.
one.
But
in case I want this
we are
shiny
trying to
version.
simplify. We're trying to simplify. At this moment in time, Rise of Iron is a large expansion. Like you said, somewhere in between House of Wolves and the Taken King is this thing called Rise of Iron. One SKU was what we figured would satisfy everyone. And like I said, if you want Chris Barrett's 8-bit, Lord Saladin T-shirt, we got that for you. There's also going to be all sorts of like Rise of Iron accoutrement up in the Bungie store. There's a Gallarhorn T-shirt. So go wild. Help yourself to everything you want. But in terms of acquiring the game, we wanted to make that an easy experience.
Vault space.
Yeah.
So
I have no
now,
idea.
no last gen consoles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
File save as 300 vault space slots.
Is that
That's
how that
it,
works?
right? That's how
Press
it
the
works.
fun button.
Yeah.
No, I think that's all those quality of life things we're going to be talking about throughout the summer.
Future stories.
Future
Always-
stories.
I don't
There's
know
a
the
lot
answer
here.
to that one.
There's a
So,
lot here.
Yeah.
There's a
Well-
lot to talk about.
I got a question that's relevant to where we are. So E3,
Yeah.
I made a prediction on the show that, of course, it's going to be like previous years.
I heard.
And they'll show up and they'll have a behind closed door and we'll see a little bit of the strike.
I heard that in my car and I was like, ha.
Yeah, you really laughed it up, I bet. Everyone out there is like, I knew he was going to be wrong with this one. Well, I got the release date right.
You did.
On, Prison of Elders in the past
done.
and some other stuff. But whatever. E3 is a little softer showing. Why not? Why don't we see, I don't know, why don't we see more? Why do we have to wait?
I mean, I
It
can
worked
answer
for
it,
you
can answer
last
it.
year pretty well, right?
It did.
So why not show like
this
more
has
now?
definitely been a more chill E3 for us. Before E3 even began, we revealed Rise of Iron.
Yep.
We are less than a week beyond the reveal of this thing, and we were able to have, as we are right now, a great conversation, including the community. So we wanted to give a nice, large moment where we could play the trailer, have a conversation with Scott and Christopher Barrett, really give the Guardians something to think about, give them something to be excited about. E3 is an opportunity for us to come and continue that conversation and talk to people who didn't necessarily attend our live reveal. We're going to need a lot of Iron Lords this fall, and while the Guardians, the pilot light on the imagination has been lit, and they want to know more, and they want to know more now. And as much as it's sort of teasing for them to say, okay, I'm watching Deej go to all these interviews and he's saying the same thing to all these different people. We are sounding the call. This is Lord Saladin's call to action, and we're letting everybody know that there's a new adventure. You can come, you can play it. In past, we've had, opportunities for people to come and play the game, but this was back when there were questions like, is Destiny fun?
Right.
Does Destiny work? An online connected game? Are you sure?
Yeah.
And so there was a certain amount of confidence or enthusiasm that we were looking to, give to people. And at this point, I've had a couple people ask me, like, is Destiny playable here? It's like, nope. Playable at home.
Can I announce something? I'm
Yeah.
going to announce a thing.
What are you going to announce?
The PR's out there right now. Like,
Do it quick
Like-
before he says no.
So something we've been talking about is Moments of Triumph.
Oh,
For
Yes,
years
that's
too.
right. There's an image
were gonna
going
ask
around.
about
I
that
heard
already.
about that.
Yeah.
And so on the way here, I was emailing, and I was like, I want to talk about this. And
Please.
don't just stay. It's fine.
Get
PR's like,
approved.
So we did that last year, and we really want to celebrate, how people play Destiny and give. It's just a fun experience, right?
Yeah.
To memorialize
Absolutely.
what you do. So, we're gonna do this. Stay. So your Moments of Triumph's coming back.
When?
As we saw, it's on 7/7, July 7th,
All right.
and it's in game. So last time it was on Companion, and we're gonna bring it into the game.
So that's one
Wow.
way you're bringing that sort of stuff into the
Yeah.
game. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So see, I got to
I
say
didn't
a
know we
thing.
were going to get a thing.
You got a thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Don't just stay there.
You got some special rewards last time. You got,
Yeah.
you got any
Well, so we're gonna
announcements
tell. So that's all we get.
Oh,
so I want to
okay,
say
okay.
that's good though, right? Like we got a thing. So we're gonna talk about that more as we get closer. But I really wanted to clarify that that's coming. It's gonna be in game. It's gonna be an iteration on what we did last year, and we're excited to continue celebrating all the accomplishments that Guardians accomplished.
So Bungie Day, we've got our usual requisite fetish about the number 7.
Yes.
7th month, 7th day has always been, not always, for years now, been Bungie Day.
Always.
And instead of christening a holiday for ourselves, this
Yeah.
was a community creation that we co-opted and said, good idea, let's make that special.
Yeah.
So we've always celebrated community achievements on Bungie Day. We've always celebrated their art. We've always celebrated the things that they do to make the game special. Moments of Triumph is a great extension for that. So the full reveal will happen on Bungie Day. We'll show people all the things that they can do to complete their Destiny adventure, earn some special rewards, and we'll show them how they'll track it in game.
Not far away from now.
No,
Only a little
no,
less than
no.
a month.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bungie Day 7/7. Are we going to get access to the raid in September, the day the content drops?
I don't think we're talking.
No.
You're
It'll be delayed.
There will be a raid.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
not talking about when it starts.
Oh, okay,
Correct.
okay. Fair enough.
But
fair
you've seen
enough.
what we've done before, and we like to do
Got it.
things.
We got a picture back there.
That looks
Death
cool.
Zamboni.
The Death
my God.
Zamboni
Beautiful.
coming
Yeah,
right at us.
that's right.
Fortunately, we
Love
have
it.
6 Guardians between
Yeah,
us
that's true.
and
They
the
can
Death
protect
Zamboni.
us.
Yeah.
For Moments of
yeah, go
Triumph,
ahead.
actually, can you clarify? Will I
Yeah.
get credit for being there since day one? Meaning Moments of Triumph originally, right, said, hey, you were here in the first year.
Sure.
Well, now I've been there for 2 years. Is there a differentiation, or it's like, look, if you've been there a year,
Yeah.
you get included?
Well, like you said, we'll find out in less
Find
than a
out,
month.
pretty soon.
Apparently.
Yeah. We knew more than we knew 5 minutes
I
ago.
tried. Okay, and really fast too on scope of updates. You're a little busy this week. What do we expect for the Bungie updates in the coming weeks? And really, to be
right.
specific, can you set any expectation for, will be, not huge until Bungie Day, or will there be some significant information in the coming
Releases
weeks?
of more news?
Yeah,
Is that
in
what
the
you're
next one
talking
and the
about?
next one. Set
I'm just
some-
trying to survive. I'm trying to survive E3 at this
Me
point.
and you
I'm
both.
I'm on about 5 hours sleep.
Yeah.
These bags under my eyes are genetic, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle product.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get back home. We're gonna get back up on Twitch and keep having the fun moments that we have with our community.
Yeah.
Some of those moments will be us inviting them to come and kick our ass in a Bungie bounty. Others may be an opportunity for us to talk a little bit more about Rise of Iron. We have between now and September 20th to talk about the arsenal, to talk about the progression system, to talk about the plague lands, to talk about a number of different things that will define the player experience. How do I get my hand on that double-headed, headed
Yeah.
axe, bathed in flame
Oh
and
my
wrapped
goodness.
in chains? It's awesome.
That looks fun.
The new
If
relic.
you need help with those reveals, you know how
Sure.
to get a hold of
We
them.
know
You
exactly.
guys are interested?
Place.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you do have a show called Fireteam
Fireteam
Chat.
Chat.
So okay,
True.
yes, I see now. I understand.
Definitely. Fran?
Yeah, I have tons more questions,
Keep
but
it
I know
coming,
these
man.
guys don't have a ton more time.
He'll tell us when we gotta wrap
But I
it
did
up.
another quick related note.
He's saying wrap it.
Looking at his phone.
Yeah.
Why haven't we heard about SRL? Why so quiet? You liked
wanna
it,
take
right?
it? You want me to take it?
Let me ask you this first
I
question.
can
Okay.
answer this.
Did you consider SRL a success?
Me personally,
No.
I loved it.
But yeah.
Me personally,
Yeah.
as somebody who, Bungie's always had a great flair for vehicular combat
Yeah.
in its games, and that was really my specialty back in the day when I was a Bungie fan before I came, to help, be part of the Destiny reveal and launch.
Yeah.
So I absolutely adored Sparrow Racing League, and I get a lot. People know that I like it, which is why I get a flurry of when are we going to get it back? When are we going to get it back? We know the community wants it to come back. There may even be conversations about whether or not we bring it back. We don't have any announcements. We don't have anything you can mark in your calendar. But the live team has done some interesting things to give people fresh reasons to come back to the world of Destiny. Things that are limited time engagements so that you can love them while they're there but not get sick of them and maybe want them to come back. And they're going to take a look at the next year of Destiny on the other side of Rise of Iron and think about how we can keep the world fresh. Maybe Sparrow Racing will be a part of that. Maybe you'll even see some of those other limited time events come back. We still have things like Festival of the Lost or Crimson Days or some of the other things that we've done. It's really a matter of what we think would be the best way to keep people engaged and keep people invigorated, you know, and that's their charge. So we'll see what the live team does.
Yeah, I mean, I think it strikes some fans as like it was fun, you know, like got a lot of positive feedback, and you sort of thought it would be right in the rotation.
And I still have my book. So
Exactly. I didn't finish my book quite. It just seems odd that it just didn't come back. Was there something wrong with it? Like in terms of like, honestly, from a game perspective,
No,
like,
from,
you know, we really wanted to tweak this one thing, and we only have so much time. And
No, I mean, I think, I don't think we think of it the same
'Cause it
that way.
worked.
I think the way we think of it is there's many different ways to refresh and update Destiny, and one of them is, you know, limited time events, and we think those are really exciting and can bring people together during a certain window. And so, from that perspective, Sparrow Racing League actually accomplished its goal for us, right?
Yeah.
And then we learned a bunch of things about it, and like Deej said, you know, with all these kind of hot topics, we're always talking about them and always trying to figure out the best place to put them. But you look at something like bringing Galahorn back, you know, we let it rest, and now it's really makes sense now. You know what I mean? So you look for those opportunities to try to align and make sure that the things all come together. That it's not just one thing, right? It's a whole package that makes people excited.
There's really a cultural, outside of Sparrow Racing League or outside of the Galahorn coming back, there's a cultural thing at Bungie that I've noticed over the years where there's really no such thing as good enough. You know, there's such a culture of perfectionism there. You know, like there are people there who are allergic to compliments. You know, like, oh, the Plague Lands was awesome. I love what you did there.
Man,
and it's like, you know.
But fix this one thing.
Yeah, but they're always striving to make things better. You know, so we're not just bringing the Galahorn back. You know, and it's like, okay, the Galahorn is now back in the loot tables. Happy rating. Good luck with your exotic engrams. I mean, it's an event. You know, it's the product of a quest now. So it's not just a matter of saying you can have it. It's like you can go and forge it. You can earn it. So, you know, who knows what we'll do in the future, but it doesn't sound like the guys I work with to just say, yeah, okay, you can have it back.
Yeah, and the way I look at it too is that the way I hear that, what you say is that people like Sparrow Racing.
Yeah.
And they want it back. And so I've taken that a step further. It's people engaged with Destiny and engaged with being excited about the game. And so we, you know, take that as a real opportunity, you know, to figure out what we're going to do next. You
took out Sparrow Racing League. You're kind of letting 360 and PS3 be on their own servers. Is that something you're going to do moving forward with the old consoles remaining where they're at? Like those versions won't be updated? Yeah, you'll be able to play, if you have a PS3 or a 360, you'll be able to play Destiny and The Taken King, but we're not going to be updating, we're going to be focusing on PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, and for anybody, you know, watching your show who's on the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360, I can pledge to you that our Destiny player support team, they're always in the building. You know, they're always working on making sure that, you know, the game is stable and that you have the information you need, you know, to keep up with the adventure. We're working with them right now to make sure that we're going to publish a full suite of helpful articles so that every player of Destiny, no matter what platform you're on, you're going to understand, you know, when this divergence happens, you know, sometime this summer, sometime in August, before we launch Rise of Iron, character progression will also fork. So while in the same console family, my PlayStation 4 and my PlayStation 3, there's a Guardian that lives between those two consoles. So if for whatever reason you're jumping back and forth, you know, and it's like I get Galahorn and it's over here, and then I get a new Dead Orbit class item and then it's over here. Those two things are going to fork. And we'll have different ways for you to take a legacy console character and port it over to the current console. That functionality will exist. We're also going to be working with our partners who manufacture these consoles, and we'll talk to them and be like, we've got, you know, about 10% of our community that's going to need to upgrade. What can we do to help them? So there's tons of announcements that we'll be making, not just about Rise of Iron and why it's cool and why you want to play it, but about how the gameplay reality of the game is going to change and how that will impact every single platform. So all of that is coming.
This has been something, it's kind of an old story. Somebody's working on something for the PC platform over at Bungie. Is that ever going to be considered for the Destiny universe?
I'll give that to you.
What was the question again?
Is Destiny ever coming to PC?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
I hope so.
Me too.
Much like Sparrow Racing League, I've read 1 or 2 tweets from people who want Destiny to be on PC. So
1 or 2?
Yeah,
that's good.
The more noise the community makes, the more people at Bungie hear you, and I'm not the only one listening.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So it's an announcement I would love to make, but it's certainly not one that I will make this day.
Yeah, I mean, with all the announcements at the Xbox conference, the parity between Windows 10 and the console, I mean, I thought that was great, you know, and I sat there thinking, like, I might just, instead of the Slim, I might just get a nice PC, you know, and so the only thing missing is Destiny in that list, so I know you guys have already heard it, so that'd be awesome.
How will that functionality work with a game like Destiny? Like, it won't be available. I guess it's before the announcement, actually. Never mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just said he's not going to tell us.
We're getting way out over our skis now.
Yeah, I don't know. How many more questions do you have about Destiny?
I'm good. I'm just kind of winging it.
Cool. Yeah, that's what we do here. I have, this
You've
huge
written
list, but
things.
being respectful of time. Actually, maybe jumping in a more fun direction. Again, we're here at E3.
Yeah.
I would love to know, actually, if you guys were able to see anything outside of your world of community engagements like this and interviews. What here did you see that you were like, oh, that looks great. I'm super excited.
I'm a
Did
huge
you-
Mass Effect fan, so
Oh.
seeing just the trailer for
Okay.
it was incredible. And I'm also an Arkham and Rocksteady nut, so just seeing.
Did you do the VR?
I haven't yet. So that's
did,
the
it was
thing.
awesome.
The thing that's the thing on my list when they're like, what do you want to do and what do you want to have time to do? It's like that more than anything. I just want to talk to them and I just want to look at that. So that's the thing I'm most excited about because I have no idea. I'm so excited to learn about how that works and how they're going to deliver that. And you probably know all this stuff. You'll tell me off air.
Destin played it?
And yeah, I want
played
to
it,
hear
yeah.
more about that. So
Yeah.
we could talk about that.
Yeah.
No, we'll do it later.
Yeah.
But so those are the big things for me, and it's a weird thing to complain about not being able to walk around the floor as much as I would like.
Yeah.
But I definitely am. Those are the things that jumped out at me when you asked that question.
Nice. Deej?
Yeah, and I mean, games aside, I invest so much time in playing Destiny with the community. Adapting to a new discipline. I've had people say to me like, "Are you going to play Overwatch? You going to play Overwatch with me?" And I'm like, God, learning a brand new game, learning all of the new complexities of teamwork and all that stuff. It's like I don't know if I just have that in me right
Yeah.
now. But there are certain things that call me back home. And I thought, I will definitely play with my 10-year-old shooter clan. I will play the new Call of Duty.
I think
will.
a lot of people know this, but you take shooters very seriously. You have a whole group.
I wouldn't say that I take shooters very seriously. It's I take games very seriously, but my interests are so completely laser narrow.
Yeah.
I built a Bungie clan to play Bungie games. And with 2 or 3 years in between the releases of those games, that same clan took me from shooter to shooter to shooter. So we were this nomadic tribe of shooter bros, and sisters for a long time. But it was like, Halo to Gears of War to Call of Duty to Battlefield, and then Call of Duty, and then Battlefield, and Call of Duty, and then Reach, and then Call of Duty, and then Destiny, and they try and play everything. And they're the ones that they're saying, like, hey, we're playing Overwatch, it's awesome, you gonna play it? And I'm like, again, learning to speak a new shooter language right now, not in the cards.
Yeah.
I have to become an Iron Lord, and I'm going to be very busy making sure that Lord Saladin has fresh meat for the grinder.
right.
But I'm looking forward to. I actually like science fiction games. I love flight sims.
is that right?
You get me started talking about like Free Space 2, I'll go forever.
You've gone to a bad
Call
place.
of Duty is dabbling
No, I
in
love
like
this.
space combat. I'm like, I will do that. I will do that gladly. So I know that there's been, some people reacting to the idea of Call of Duty in space, and there's some questions to be answered there. But I'm in. I'm going to
thought it
go.
looked cool.
I'm going to
Yeah,
do that.
absolutely.
Yeah, I thought
Good
it showed
trailer.
really well at the PlayStation 4 conference, and I dig it. Outside of that, outside of relating to games, the thing that I love about E3 is the fact that it truly is a circus. The fact that we do these live shows, the fact that everybody has a stage, the fact that you sit down and now you're talking to people outside of the internet. When I was a gamer and you would hear rumors about E3, it was like this secret castle somewhere where everybody would put hoods on and dress up in robes and tell each other industry secrets about the game. And I think people who play games, who love games, who don't get the opportunity to have a badge, they really get to attend now. And I think that's so cool, when you're in the Twitch booth and they have a live feed, and you're in the IGN stage and you have a live feed, and it's like, people get to open a window into this world so that people can understand what this industry is like and what happens when all these gamers who work in this industry come together and they all have a passion for what they do, and the forces of industry aren't evil. It's a bunch of people who love games and they're trying to bring this stuff to life and put it into people's hands, and I just think culturally with the advances of the way we all communicate via the internet, E3's become a really fascinating thing. So that's really even more fascinating to me than the game is the society and the social interaction that surrounds it, which is why I'm a community manager and you're an executive producer.
I like those things too.
You do like the way the blog is written though, right?
I do like the blog. We can talk about that.
world
later.
I really like the Friday playtest. So
Did you?
Yeah, we'll just
I-
bring
we haven't
bring
talked
it back
about it
full
yet.
circle.
I don't
with
get time.
mutual
We're walking
appreciation.
everywhere. I don't get to talk to you. So
Yeah.
I had you cornered. I want to know what you think.
Dude, Scott, thank you so much for joining Fran and I on the show today. I have one more request, however, before we go. Do you want to do a Guardians out to camera one?
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
do you guys know how that goes? We sort of do the
Yeah, yeah,
until
yeah.
next time, a brief pause, and then Guardians out.
Yeah.
You'll do it?
You ready? All right. Well, until next time,
Guardians
Guardians
out.
out. You want to do one more?
Yeah, I was late
All right.
on that one. Here
All
we
right,
No,
go.
the
one
lights
more,
went
one
down.
more,
Get
one
the
more.
lights back. Get the lights back. We're gonna do one.
Which
last
one's
one.
camera one?
It's right there.
Camera
All right.
one.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
ready.
Manning it.
Really, really good this time. All right.
Really, really goes.
Yeah. All right. Until next time,
Guardians out.